Well, how's it going? I got another update for you guys. Yeah, this is annoying. But, the old master cylinder's out. My buddy Steve came and helped me with some stuff. Got the old master cylinder out, bled the clutch master cylinder and the line that'll go back in once I get the old stuff out. Look at this stupidity. This is the new throw-out bearing slave cylinder plastic. Nah, this is actually aluminum. So that's actually a step up. And this fitting is actually aluminum too. So that's pretty neat. So hey, those aren't too bad. I still think that this should have like a brake bleeder nipple on the end of that. I don't understand why the heck it doesn't. That's just weird. I managed to squish my index finger twice. Yeah, I can't really see it yet. It's probably going to be bruised tomorrow. It kind of hurts. Oh, I don't have any light there. That's the starter hanging right there. The transmission jack that I got from home yesterday is working well. However, I can't pull the transmission back far enough because the top of the transfer case is hitting the sheet metal on the cab. So I'm gonna have to pull the transfer case. I was trying to avoid that because it's honestly just more work. But it is what it is. I'll get it done. I'm calling it quits for the night. I'm tired. I've got guests back at the apartment, or a guest back at the apartment I gotta show my face for and hang out for a bit, and it is Sunday. So yeah, pretty much everything is apart, at least as far as it needs to be. It would be easier if the cross member here was designed better so you could actually drop everything out a little bit easier, and the catalytic converters get in the way of stuff, and the header crossover from the driver's side bank gets in the way of stuff too. And I don't know, yeah, you can't really see it in the dark, but it shouldn't be too hard to pull the transfer case. So, and yeah, the jack works pretty well. However, the pin for the tilt mechanism broke, so I can't tilt it any more than it is, which is kind of annoying because the front is jacked up pretty far. So everything's back at an angle, and that's another reason why it's kind of hard to get all this out. But this actually does lift very well. It takes a little bit of effort, but for the amount of weight that's sitting on top of the thing, it's really not that hard at all, and it hasn't been greased in forever. So one of my buddies is suggesting that I do a video on restoring this thing, and I probably will. Definitely needs a good sandblasting, and I'll probably take it apart and check out all the threads and fix the pin on here. And these are actually welded in. I don't think that's supposed to be welded in. I think it's actually supposed to be a slip fit, so you can get leverage on it and then move it to the next hole. I'm tired. And this part here, this handle actually rotates it. I think I left the adapters for the thing back at the house. I have it ratchet strapped. You can see the orange ratchet strap there, but that's not exactly keeping it on as well as I'd like. So yeah, this was kind of, I was trying to be clever and Now it's taking more time than I'd originally have thought. But, you know, live and learn. This is my first time doing this. Hopefully last time for a very long time. I won't say last time forever, but last time for a very long time. But yeah, it was really good to have my buddy helping me out. He definitely was handy to have around. And it's been a nice day out. Not too humid, not too hot. Yeah, it's I gave my buddy a tour of the race car. He hasn't seen that in person. Oh, and I got a box from DigiKey, although they sent it to the wrong dang address. That's something I gotta figure out. These are the sensors. Yeah, one magnet and the a cam and crank sensor. Oh, there should be one more thing in here. No, it's not the crank sensor. The crank sensor is going to be a Honda part, because that's going to be a little bit different. But basically, this cam sensor is a Hall effect sensor triggered by the south pole of a magnet. And this magnet is going to fit into the adjustable cam gear on the engine that I'm building this for, and I just epoxy them in place. It works really well, and it'll give a proper trigger, and it's rated for quite high temperatures. The one that we've got here is has been functioning flawlessly, which is pretty awesome. I like using actual real industrial stuff because it's made to hold up to vibration and be very reliable, because a lot of processes that can either kill people or blow up plants are controlled by those kinds of switches. So it's important that they work really well. Not the cheapest stuff, but you know, the magnet was actually cheap. It was like $1 something, and I chose this one because of the size, 3x4 millimeter, and also because it's pretty darn strong, and it's also a very high temperature magnet, so it's not going to demagnetize if the engine gets hot, and it does, although it shouldn't get too hot on the cam gear there, but you never know. So that's going to be another fun project, putting not that exact engine, but a very similar Honda engine, putting this stuff together for that. And yeah, that's basically a shop update. I'm almost out of argon. I might have mentioned that before. I gotta get a lease on a big bottle. Oh, I almost forgot this thing. I love this thing. I got it for free. Sorry about that. Really useful types of drawers. Oh, I didn't even know they folded down like that. That's pretty cool. So I can organize files and drill bits and taps and things like that in that. I'm looking forward to cleaning that up and using it. I don't think the keys actually work because they're kind of in there bent. I haven't actually been able to get those out yet. I'll fiddle with that later. I'm not too worried about that because I don't tend to lock it up. And got 2 Wilton bullet vices that I'm going to be cleaning up. One of them I promised to a friend of mine, and one of them I'm going to keep. The plan for that is to actually mount it, make a stub thing basically that bolts to the side of the table. I don't want to bolt it to the top of the table because that's prime real estate, but I figure if I make a square plate that has a square tube coming out of it, and then basically like a hitch receiver, honestly I probably should just make the vise fit onto a hitch receiver and then have a tube here that I can just stick it in, stick a pin through, and use the vise on there for beading or bending stuff. But eventually I do want to make a stand just for the vise, because you can't really, I mean, even if you lock down all of the casters, I don't really like wrenching, you know, putting torsional stuff on them, because it just doesn't, you know, it's going to move a little bit anyway, then you're not getting as much force right on your piece that you're working on. So, oh, here's the old one. Honestly, this looks pretty much exactly the same as the one that we took out, but that's okay. Huh. I think, yeah, this is actually installed incorrectly. That paper, oh, yeah, too close. That paper is supposed to come off, because this backing here, this is actually adhesive. So I think that's supposed to seal. Things you notice. Oh, close that back up. So, well, before we were so rudely interrupted, I honestly forget what I was talking about. I know it was over here, talking about working on the race car stuff, but, or was I over there? Oh heck, I don't really even know. Either way, yeah, this is the doofiness. I just don't understand who thinks an internal setup like that is at all good for serviceability. I just don't get it. I'm gonna stop complaining, and I am going to head back to the apartment, and ooh, I need to clean up that pile. The things you notice when you are taking videos that you're going to show to other people. Well, yeah, anyway, oh man, I have a lot to do. Well, this upcoming week, I am going to be spending more time working on this thing, obviously. I have actually a bunch of job interviews and some other opportunities. I need to get this up and running by this coming weekend. There's some pretty cool stuff in the oven and cooking. It's gonna be pretty cool. It should be a fairly steady thing too. And if it happens, I'll share it with you guys. If not, then I'll tell you about what could have been. But right now, I'm not really getting into the specifics of things. Oh, actually, here's a fun thing to show you guys. Some of you will know what these are, but this is not a very common thing. This is a Lamanova core, and as you can see, there are a gazillion little fins, and there are channels around. Ooh, that's dented. Yeah, that's okay. There are channels around the outside and one large channel on the inside. And these are used in fairly high efficiency heat exchangers, liquid to air and heat exchangers. So what these are going to be eventually are an air to water intercooler. Oh, excuse me while I get out of focus for a second and put this. Ooh, hold on a sec. That's not gonna work. Sorry. Yeah, I'll keep talking. But these are going to be an intercooler for my CRX, which will eventually be re-turbocharged. It was turbocharged at one point, just with a small T25, Garrett T25 turbo. super fun. Insta boost, basically as close as you can get to it. It was very fun not having to downshift to piss off Porsches, at least most Porsches, in fifth gear on the highway if they tried to cut in front of you. It was quite a good time just being able to go zoop and you're gone. I miss having a turbocharged vehicle quite a bit. And within the next month or so, I actually have to get my CRX crammed in here somehow, because it's not well, I can't really put it on the road right now. The engine's boogered, so it needs a swap. A buddy of mine is actually building an engine for it. I just need to eventually get that swapped in. That's not going to be a turbo engine, but it's going to be an engine that'll let me have quite a bit of fun with my CRX on the street. And I need to sweep too. So anyway, I'm just rambling now because I'm tired, and I'm just basically trying to remind myself how much stuff I really need to get done. It's kind of scary, but one day at a time, one step at a time, I will keep poking along and just take one thing at a time. And this is definitely the biggest one thing at a time right here. I'll get it done, even if it's a pain. I'll manage to get it done. And I think that hopefully with this clutch situation, putting in new components, that should be the last major drivability issue. That will hopefully let me be able to tow and drive and actually use this as a work truck, because I can't really fit everything that I need to in my fit, even if it's called a fit. So, yep, and then of course I need to get this wired up because I really want to use that. Oh, actually a guy I know in Australia has the same mill, and he's been helping, well, he's been figuring out how to fix the quill. Oh, I haven't done a video on that actually, but there's a piece inside here and a threaded rod or threaded thing with a gear on it, and as you turn this here, the gear turns and the quill is supposed to move up and down, but both of ours surprisingly were broken the same exact way, and he's found a fix for it, and I may just copy what he's doing. So the sooner I can get this thing powered up, the sooner I can actually fix the quill, because that'd be nice. I gotta finish installing the scales for the DRO, which the box for it's actually a 4. It's a 4-axis, I guess. And I still haven't figured out how to mount the quill axis, and that's actually a proper mill DRO, so it would actually, it can sum the distance from the quill to the knee Z vertical axis. So that's going to be super useful, because the power feed on here actually moves all that mass upwards pretty darn quickly, especially in rapid. So you've got the control knob for that. That's that, and these are your feed settings. That doesn't want to go past that. Oh, there we go. But yeah, it can go really, really slow, down to 9/16 a minute, I think that is. Yeah, inches a minute. So 9/16 a minute. That's really slow. I'm honestly not sure what you would really want that for, unless you were slotting something really deep which this thing actually does have the power to do. And then you've got, I think this is your direction, and this is your speed. This is rapid. Yeah, this is direction. So it would go this way, rapid left, rapid right. Your start button, stop button. This is something that I want to actually fix, and also my plan is to have the DRO head over here on a movable thing, and I actually want to have a stop button there, and I want to have a stop button somewhere over on this side, and I think that'll be a lot safer, just in case anything happens trying to reach and push a broken button. I think that might be something that I can 3D print and insert in there for, and I think that would actually be really cool to use modern technology. One of the other things that I do need to do for this is these dogs are, as you can see, worn. So what I want to do is actually weld those up and then machine them a bit more square, because they don't really grab right now, and this is spring loaded, so this just freewheels when the power feed is engaged. I have the handle for the knee, and I think, oh, I only got one of those handles, so I got to figure out. I'm probably just going to end up making a new one of those. It'd be easy if I had a lathe, but since I have the rotary table, one of the things I do need to get is a boring head. So, yeah, I haven't really talked too much about this. This is a phase 2 rotary table, and for the money, it's actually pretty darn good. It's not perfect, but for what I do most of the time, you know, if you want to do a quick hole pattern in something, circular hole pattern, or even doing milling with it, it's really not terrible. I'm looking forward to actually doing more with that. It should be pretty cool. And this is an older Kurt vise. It's not your typical 6-inch vise. This is an 8-inch vise. And let me tell you, that sucker is heavy. When it got shipped to me, it had to get shipped in 2 separate boxes. The seller took the movable jaw and the lead screw assembly out of the block, and no, I did not do these. It came that way, but it doesn't really affect the structure of the block or the vise at all, and it is solid. I was thinking about trying to get a 6-inch vise, but this actually came up on eBay for much less expensive than most good condition Kurt 6 inches, because nobody wants it. Like this thing hanging off a Bridgeport, it just tipped the stupid thing over. Not really, but it's still a lot of weight hanging on there. And the weight capacity on the table total, I think, is 660 pounds. And the whole thing is, the whole mill is with the accessories that I have on there and filled with oil, is probably over 5,000 pounds. So it's pretty stiff, very massive. That's almost a solid base on there. Pretty sure it's actually cast all in one piece. I really like it. It's so stable. Like even when it's on the rocking thing, if I was to mill something, it would probably still put out a pretty darn good finish, even though, you know, you're not supposed to do that. But I really do like the integrity of this piece of machinery quite a bit. Oh, actually, this side is really cool. It's got really cool recommendations for speed. So you select the material that you're working on, the radius cutter, I think, And yeah, so no, the radius cutter is here, because this, see, the radius is on this dial. I'm not sure. I think these are holes. That might be hole size. So you've got aluminum, bronze, brass, steel, and back to aluminum, steel, cast iron. No titanium. Nothing fancy on there. That's okay. And it does go down to 45 RPM, which is fantastic. Oh, right, yeah, so you select your range. So you've got 3 selections, and then you have another gear selector here that lets you choose that particular RPM. So you've got a bunch of gears up in the headstock. This speed makes tapping so much easier. I haven't done a lot of power tapping in here because of the quill. I'd prefer to have hand control over that instead of figuring out what feed to use on that, but it's pretty friggin' awesome, and it still spins. It can spin pretty high, up to 2000 RPM. That's quite a good range. Do wish it would go a little faster. I know I could crank it up faster than that with a DRO, but the bearings and stuff in this are, gosh, about 60 years old. Still works really well, but probably not going to want to push it too much higher than that. And quite frankly, I don't think I really need to, because I don't use super small end mills in this really. I mean, I can, but it's alright. And then you've got your phase selection here, your forward and oh no, that's the oil pump there, and this is your forward and reverse selection. I don't know if I ever had the knob for that, but yeah, I mean, you can see some of the mounts I made for this. I might have boogered up this scale. I might have to order a new one off of AliExpress. And then the other thing is it's worn, but you can still see a lot of the scraping. So it's really, this machine, as old as it is, has been pretty well taken care of. And yeah, it's got you can actually operate the thing from over here pretty much. I think that would be one of the preferred positions, because it's got the controls over here too, so you can actually get in and see depending on how this thing is spinning. Very cool power meter, works really well. I've barely seen it up to 3, and that was by accident. I was milling something. What was I doing? Oh, right, I was actually making a spanner wrench for collets. Obviously that's a drill chuck, but I do have collets and collet holders for this. And I was milling a piece of 1/4 inch steel, and I forgot to turn it off of 37 inches per minute, and I hit the go button, or the go lever, and the mill, the table was moving to the right, and I was using, I think, a 1/2 inch end mill, and it plowed right through. That's when I saw the power gauge move up, but not spike, and it just plowed through there, completely blued the end mill, and that end mill was done, but the machine just chugged right through it. So, hooray. It's solid, it's capable of a lot of good work, and I can't really wait to get this thing out. And I still absolutely love the logo. That's actually a warhorse. It took me a while before I figured that out. And TOS, I forget exactly what that is, but it's well, now it's actually a private company. It was sold off when after the Iron Curtain fell. It was a public, communist. There was no private enterprises. It was a foundry. They have different foundries. They had some in the former Czechoslovakia and that obviously Eastern European countries. So that's basically what I have gathered about this piece of fine, heavy, awesome, not tiny equipment. So, oh yeah, there's a light holder up there that needs some attention and rewiring. I'm not sure exactly how that would have been considered long enough, because it doesn't really, I mean, I guess it could shine a light down onto your workpiece, but I don't know. Something that I can eventually use. And yeah, all the wiring is original cloth stuff. That all needs to get replaced eventually. It has 4 motors. It has all the way underneath is an oil pump that is seized. I need to pull that off and see if I can just clean it up and if it'll spin free again. This is the table power, and it has the main spindle motor. I know that needs some attention too, because some of the fan blades on the back are broken. And then I think there's a separate, actually I think this is a separate oil pump for the spindle system. So there are 4 separate four separate four separate electrical motors in this thing, which makes the wiring complicated, especially on this switch, which reverses the feeds. It's just complicated. I haven't figured it all out. I will eventually. What I'd like to do actually is have 1 VFD per motor, and then actually hook up the controls to the VFDs so that everything's running through the VFDs. It would eliminate the complexity of the switches. It would be safer because I could have emergency stops on everything more readily available around the machine, and I could tweak the settings for speeds and feeds a little bit better, which I like. And yeah, make some covers. I have the cover for this. It doesn't really fit very well, so I'll probably make something for that. I haven't really moved much of anything because I want to clean it up before I get. There's not too much rust, but there's a whole lot of crust on top of everything. I've been spraying this down regularly with anti-corrosive stuff, and excuse me. So there is a little surface rust on some of this, but a lot of that is just dust on top of anti-corrosive crap. So yeah, but I'll clean it up. And actually there's felt wipers under all of these surfaces, so I'll probably have to get some felt and cut some new wipers eventually. Not too eventually. It's not too difficult to do that. And yeah, that's about it. Well, it's probably not about it, but it's it for now, because this video is going to be quite a bit longer than any other video I posted, as at least not in-car video from race car stuff. But I'm just rambling now, and I think it'll probably be a good time for me to get the heck out of here and wash my grubby hands before I drive home. So I hope you guys have had a good weekend. I have had a fairly unexpectedly annoying weekend. I did get a lot of stuff done. I did have a good day. hanging out with my dad yesterday, helping him and digging out my pretty cool old iron transmission jack, which is working with a few issues. I am getting my light set back on the charger, and I like this one. It's a Saber, I think is the brand. Where is the... Yeah, Saber. Has 2 power settings. It has a meter when you push that button to show you how much charge is left. And the best thing about it, oh yeah, it actually expands too, so you can put it on a hood. It's basically the original type. It has a waterproof or watertight cap on the charging port. It will also charge, or it will also light while charging. Most of the other lights that I've seen on the market don't do that, and quite frankly that annoys me because I don't think there's any good reason to do it. I actually prefer the screw-in type connection because I don't really like USB connectors for charging industrial or supposedly industrial things. It's just annoying. They break, they wear out, they're not really made for connecting well, and you can screw them up and your charging cables get abused if you try to charge quickly and all that jazz. I'm rambling again. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a good weekend. Have a good, safe start to your week. I will have more news coming this week. Should be fairly exciting. And yeah, if you like these long format videos, please let me know. It's a lot more time and memory card space, obviously. If you like my ramblings, please let me know. If you want me to stay focused on just one thing per video, let me know. Basically, I just want feedback from you guys. If you want to see anything more specifically about stuff in the shop, I'm more than willing to talk about almost everything that I do. Some things I can't, but everything that's in the shop right now, aside from a couple things with this thing, are open for investigation by anybody that wants to know. I love talking about this stuff, that's why I'm doing it. And yeah, so like, comment, subscribe, give me feedback. I really appreciate it. I enjoy it. It makes my life a little happier. And yeah, thanks. I appreciate everything. I appreciate the support with my YouTube stuff and IG stuff, and a little bit on Facebook. I don't really post too much on Facebook. Yeah, I've got a lot to do. This is too messy for me. But I'll get it cleaned up after I get this thing put back together. So, and again, have a good one. Catch you later. Be awesome. Be as safe as you can doing awesome things.